sovereign wealth funds silently steer the world's economies, and their hidden levers shape policies you never see coming. Stay tuned, because number one is something almost nobody guesses. Imagine a sovereign wealth fund financing a new high-speed rail line that cuts travel time by half. That's the kind of direct infrastructure investment that can rewrite a nation's economic playbook. By pouring billions into roads, ports, and energy grids, these funds lock in long-term revenue streams while boosting domestic employment. The returns often feed back into the fund, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. Critics argue that such projects can sideline private sector competition, yet many governments tout the stability and strategic control that public capital brings. In countries like Norway and Singapore, the fund's stakes in infrastructure have become symbols of national ambition, showing how state-sized capital can shape both the skyline and the fiscal policy that governs it. This blend of public purpose and profit motive makes infrastructure a cornerstone of sovereign wealth strategy.
Surprisingly, sovereign wealth funds often acquire strategic equity stakes in multinational corporations, giving them a seat at the table where global decisions are made. By holding significant shares in sectors like technology, energy, and finance, they can influence corporate governance, dividend policies, and even mergers that affect national supply chains. These positions are typically exercised quietly, yet they can sway board votes on issues ranging from climate commitments to labor practices. Some funds adopt an activist approach, pressing for changes that align with their home country's strategic interests, while others prefer a passive, long-term hold to capture steady returns. The dual role of investor and policy lever creates a nuanced power dynamic, where financial performance and geopolitical goals intersect. Observers note that this quiet influence can reshape market trends without the fanfare of traditional political lobbying, underscoring the subtle reach of sovereign capital.
In many cases, sovereign wealth funds become lenders of last resort to their own governments, providing low-cost financing for budget deficits or emergency spending. This internal borrowing can reduce reliance on external debt markets, allowing a nation to maintain fiscal flexibility and protect its credit rating. By issuing bonds or direct loans, the fund helps smooth out economic cycles, especially during downturns or geopolitical shocks. However, the arrangement also raises questions about accountability, as the line between public investment and state-backed lending blurs. Some analysts suggest that this mechanism can enable governments to pursue ambitious projects without immediate taxpayer burden, while others warn of potential conflicts of interest if fund managers prioritize political goals over financial prudence. Regardless, sovereign lending illustrates how these funds act as both investors and financial backstops, reinforcing national policy agendas from within.
Few people realize that sovereign wealth funds are sometimes deployed to stabilize a country's currency during volatile periods. By buying or selling large volumes of foreign exchange, the fund can help smooth out sudden swings that might otherwise hurt exports, inflation, or investor confidence. These interventions are usually coordinated with central banks, creating a joint front that leverages the fund's deep pockets without directly tapping public treasury resources. While the impact is often subtle, the market feels the effect through reduced volatility and more predictable exchange rates. Critics argue that such actions can distort true market dynamics, yet proponents claim they protect economic stability and preserve purchasing power. The delicate balance between market forces and strategic intervention showcases another layer of influence that sovereign wealth funds wield beyond traditional investment portfolios.
Hidden within the portfolios of many sovereign wealth funds are sizable allocations to innovation hubs and venture capital ecosystems. By seeding tech startups, biotech firms, and renewable energy projects, these funds nurture future industries that align with national development goals. The strategy serves a dual purpose, securing high-growth returns while positioning the home country at the forefront of emerging technologies. For instance, a fund might back a quantum computing research center that later attracts global talent and private investment, turning a modest seed into a national competitive advantage. This approach also signals to private investors that the government is committed to fostering a forward-looking economy, encouraging additional capital inflows. The result is a virtuous cycle where state-driven innovation fuels economic diversification, policy reforms, and long-term fiscal health.
Consider the way sovereign wealth funds shape a nation's energy policy by directing capital towards specific energy sectors. By heavily investing in renewable projects such as wind farms or solar parks, a fund can accelerate a country's transition to clean energy, thereby influencing regulatory frameworks, subsidies, and emissions targets. Conversely, substantial holdings in oil and gas assets can encourage policies that protect fossil fuel interests, affecting everything from tax incentives to export agreements. These investment choices send clear signals to industry players about the strategic direction the state endorses. Over time, the cumulative effect can reshape the energy mix, alter trade balances, and even dictate the pace of climate-related legislation. The fund's portfolio thus becomes a lever for steering national energy priorities in line with long-term economic and environmental objectives.
Deep beneath the surface of many sovereign wealth fund balance sheets lies a massive portfolio of real estate, ranging from commercial skyscrapers to strategic agricultural land. By owning key properties, the fund can influence urban planning, housing affordability, and regional development agendas. For example, a fund might acquire a downtown district and partner with local authorities to revitalize infrastructure, thereby boosting tax revenues and creating jobs. In other cases, large land holdings can be leveraged to support food security policies or preserve natural resources. The real estate dimension also provides a stable, inflation-hedging asset class that can fund public projects without raising taxes. This subtle yet powerful use of property assets demonstrates how sovereign wealth funds translate financial clout into tangible policy outcomes that affect everyday life.
Unexpectedly, sovereign wealth funds often forge partnerships with multilateral institutions like the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund, amplifying their policy influence on a global scale. By co-financing development projects, climate initiatives, or infrastructure programs, the funds align national interests with broader international agendas. These collaborations can unlock additional financing, technical expertise, and political goodwill, enhancing the fund's reputation while advancing the home country's diplomatic goals. Moreover, participation in such initiatives can steer the design of global standards, from sustainable finance criteria to anti-corruption measures, embedding the fund's values into the fabric of international policy. The synergy between state-owned capital and global institutions underscores a sophisticated avenue for shaping worldwide economic governance.
According to analysts, many sovereign wealth funds now employ cutting-edge data analytics and artificial intelligence to forecast economic trends and inform policy recommendations. By aggregating massive datasets, ranging from commodity prices to demographic shifts, their research arms produce insights that governments can use to tweak fiscal policy, adjust trade strategies, or anticipate recession risks. This analytical muscle transforms the fund from a passive investor into an active think tank, offering evidence-based guidance that can preempt crises or capitalize on emerging opportunities. While the exact influence varies by country, the growing reliance on data underscores a modern evolution, financial stewardship intertwined with strategic policymaking powered by technology.
Finally, sovereign wealth funds play a pivotal role in shaping a nation's legacy and succession planning, ensuring that wealth generated today benefits future generations. By establishing clear governance frameworks, transparent reporting standards, and intergenerational investment mandates, the funds embed long-term stability into the national economic fabric. This forward-looking approach can influence policy debates on intergenerational equity, pension reforms, and education funding, as lawmakers consider the lasting impact of current fiscal decisions. Moreover, the fund's stewardship model often serves as a template for other public institutions, promoting a culture of accountability and sustainability. In this way, the legacy function of sovereign wealth funds extends beyond financial returns, weaving itself into the very narrative of a country's future prosperity.
We've just uncovered how sovereign wealth funds operate behind the scenes, from building megaprojects to swaying legislation, and why their quiet power matters to every citizen. If you enjoyed this deep dive, Hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next mind-blowing list we release each week. Which of the 10 ways surprised you most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights keep the conversation alive, and we love hearing from you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.